Well, I'll tell you what, Drew. Spring being one of my favorite places, I do like to talk about places that I've been. And Chris and I got a chance last week to go down to McCormick County. And
that's my neck of the woods.
Man, my favorite place to visit during the spring, I have to go at least once a spring, and usually I end up leading trips there too, is Stevens Creek Heritage Preserve, which is located right in Clarks Hill, down in southern McCormick County. And what a bonanza of rare endangered species, but also just the color, the wildflowers, and the birds that appear in that place. It's just a fantastic place. So if you don't know about our Heritage Preserve Network, go online and check it out, because DNR is one of the things that's really unique about South Carolina. Instead of just having a heritage program that makes a list of rare species, our Heritage Preserve Network actually protects habitat for plants and animals, and they're spread out all around the state. And a wonderful trail there at Stevens Creek Heritage Preserve will take you into one of the greatest wildflower sites and one of the strangest wildflower sites that you'll find anywhere in South Carolina. And one of my favorite plants out there that's in bloom right now, now this tends to be a bird show, but I'm going to talk about a plant. I'm going to break precedent here. Is one of my favorites is shooting star, which is blooming right now out there. And you talk about a crazy plant. The petals appear to be bent backwards. The anthers are thrown way out in the front. They're tubular, and the pollen can only be extracted from those anthers by bumblebees through a process called sonication. So if you sit next to that colony of shooting stars and watch for a while, you'll see a bumblebee come up, grab a hold of the anthers, and kind of shake her booty and her wings and create a vibration that causes the pollen to shoot out the end of those anthers. And it's the only thing that can affect pollination from one flower to the next is bumblebees. And it's a great place to see pollination and pollination specialization right there at Stevens Creek in the spring. And how many of our plants are absolutely dependent on bumblebees, our native bee.
Well, the thing about Stevens Creek is that it's such a unique area in that it sits on the edge, and near Edgefield, up a bit north of Edgefield, actually. But you think about Stevens Creek and you think about this place where the mountains, the Piedmont, and even some coastal plains.
That's right. I mean, you have Dutchman's britches growing underneath, Piedmont trees like chalk maple, right next to a bald cypress and a sable minor.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's incredible.
Palms, cypress, mountain. I mean, Dutchman's britches nowhere else in South Carolina. It's strictly like a mountains of North
species.
Carolina up through Canada species, but it occurs there. So great place to just go out and enjoy an afternoon walk. And I encourage you to check out our Heritage Preserve Network in South Carolina.
They are wonderful
places. And please leave them like you see them.
Yes.
Make sure you don't
take
mess
only
up those
pictures,
special places. That's
leave
right.
only footprints.
That's right. But I heard a bird out there, Drew, and I want you folks out there listening to listen for this bird because it's one of our earliest neotropical migrants to make it back. And I was really surprised to hear one out there singing already this spring. And that bird...
Northern Parula.
Right, or however they say it.
Parula,
I always
Parula.
Call it Parula and Parula or Paria. I don't know. If you look, it's pronounced different ways, but it is one of the coolest and one of the earliest neotropical migrant warblers to make it back to our area, and such a distinctive little call that I just associate with the beginning of turkey season.
Yeah, well, I mean, as that song climbs up the scale, the chromatic scale.
Yeah.
Yep. And then it falls off really quickly. And it's a bird that it's hard oftentimes to get a good look at. Stevens Creek is a great place to get a good look because you're up on a hill. You're up on a bluff.
Yeah.
And up on that bluff, that bird, it doesn't know that you're at eye level with it. But when you see this warbler with this kind of slaty blue back, but then this yellow and chestnut throat, and just throwing its head back and singing its guts out.
It's a beautiful bird.
It's a beautiful bird. And they're here. They're moving northward. We're gonna begin to hear yellow-throated warblers singing pretty soon. And up here in the upstate, Patrick, Louisiana water thrush are going to be on the stream soon, and they're going to begin singing. So, we talked at the beginning of the show about the calendar spring. Well, that doesn't matter to the birds.
Yeah, and the song of the mountains to me, if you come up to Station Cove or any of the mountain sites that you might be looking for wildflowers in this spring, by the first week of April, we almost always hear the really distinctive call of the black-throated green
Yeah.
warbler. It just tends to be the background noise that
Trees,
we hear.
trees, little green trees.
Yeah, what a great bird also. And early bird's back.
An early bird that, it's one of those species that if people are in the Piedmont, oftentimes it's a bird they won't pick up.
Yep.
And they seem to almost, and certainly they filter through, but really aren't vocal until they get in the mountains. And surprisingly, you'll get up there, Patrick, about this time of year, and you'll think, wow, nothing's going on, and all of a sudden you'll hear that song, and it tells you that for the mountains,
yep, spring's
here.
And you know where the first place I saw that bird?
Where's that?
As a breeding bird? Horry County, South Carolina.
Ah, Wayne's warbler.
Yeah. There's this strange population of that bird that occurs in the coastal plain. So we've got